Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 19 of What If Naruto Was a Badass Genius. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also stay in tune for What If Naruto Was Neglected by Everyone, and I do hope that you guys enjoy. And later on, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was a God Amongst Man over on Anime King 2. I already posted a new episode of What If Naruto is a Deceitful God, so go ahead and check it out and enjoy that, guys. And yeah, remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking about to all of you. So without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Begin the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails.
So the last spot we left off, Sasuke was able to get behind Naruto's defense rather easily, as he knew that something was strange, something was wrong, because in the years of training, he never got behind Naruto and he was able to stab him, as something was on Naruto's mind. As the battle went by pretty quickly, as Tsunade wasn't impressed by what she saw, as either something was wrong with Naruto, or he isn't as strong as he claimed to be, or Jiraiya said he is. But for now, she would just keep a close eye on him. Later that day, Tsunade was talking to Naruto, as she told him that his marriage proposal would still go ahead with Temari, but this time there will be no backing out of it. As Jiraiya thought that Naruto would protest against it, but Naruto seemed calm, as he said okay. As he knew that when Temari is here, Gar wouldn't do anything stupid, or allow the council to do anything stupid. As Tsunade narrowed her eyes at him, how did he know that Gar was a Kazekage? But Naruto spun around on her and told her that he didn't actually say that Gar was a Kazekage, he just said that Gar wouldn't allow them to do anything stupid. The next day, Naruto stared at the half-naked woman on top of him, as Mikoto was looking down at him as she asked him, does he think that she's taking advantage of him because she knew that he would not say no to her. But she didn't know that Naruto was just curious about the feeling, as he enjoyed the pleasure a lot. But if he didn't want to, he could have stopped her from doing anything. But it wasn't like he hated it, so there was no reason to say no to this. As she told him they have to keep this a secret, because if his mother ever find out about this, she will be quite unpleased. As Naruto understood. And Sasuke, he's too young to understand some situation as well. Well, is mine. Some time passed as Naruto was in the forest of death, as he was talking to Anko, as he want Anko to join him. As the way he was talking, he spoke like she already said yes to his proposal, as Naruto told her that she was a friend of Yujeo, and he would like to get to know her as well, and have her work for him. As the way he speaks, she looked at him. This kid was really something else. And also, she tried to attack him, but she realized that he had some incredible physical powers, as he was able to hold her hand and she wasn't able to even move a budge. Later that day, Mikoto came by, as she told him that his name came up in the council room, as they were talking about him, but it seems like he has a friend in Shikaku, as Shikaku had all good things to say about Naruto. As Naruto told her that later on he will be going on a date with Ino, as Ino persisted, as she said that she would not leave him alone until he come, as Mikoto was upset to hear that, but she knew that he will be going out with a girl his own age. But he belonged to her, she said, as she also remembered that San's siblings are coming tomorrow. But she whispered in his ears and told him to come at her house tonight, and with that she left. As Naruto headed towards Hokage's office, as Tsunade was asking him why does he want free roam, as he wanted to have the same privilege as Jiraiya. So yeah guys, that was basically the last where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself, so let's start this new episode. Answer the question, Jiraiya said. The outside world is currently unsafe, Naruto said. The Akatsuki's are hunting down the Bijous. What do you think will happen If Kumoji and Julkis got taken away, don't you think they will hunt for another Biju from any other village that they can get it from? And the simplest things can lead to war. I want to prevent all of this, Naruto said. But not for the good of the world, for your own selfish reasons, said Jiraiya. Of keeping your mother safe, Kushina has traveled and enjoyed the experience. With the outside world unsafe, there is no guarantee that she will be safe, especially since that she's your mother. For both of you to be safe, the world outside has to be safe, Jiraiya asked. Naruto nodded. I have considered a world without any other nations or any other village, just Konoha. In that way, we can guarantee safety. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes. Why go that far? You don't care about this world. Why do something that would benefit it? As Naruto wondered if Jiraiya understand what he just said, he just basically told him that he would destroy every other villages and leave Konoha behind. If he had understood, he wouldn't ask such a question. When the population was low, it was easy to control things and manage them. But something like that will cause a massive plan. Something that he has to gather a plan that will be full of blood. If he put his mind to it, he could plant the seeds for a bloody war. But that was something he wanted to avoid, as the world would notice, and Kushina would be known as the mother of that thing, and he didn't want that for her. Yes, Jiraiya, the invasion taught me something, that you have to make choices. You have to be forced to make sacrifice. I am not omnipresent. I cannot be everywhere at once. That is why I want to avoid any of this before it even begins. But we have friends, Tsunade said. The village has an army to make up for that. But we cannot just put people in different situations. But I see your point nevertheless. It is much better to stop a situation before it develops than try to stop it when it is already hot. Even if you manage to stop it, you won't come out in one piece. So, Hokage-sama, do I pass your test, Naruto asks? I have to say this leave a strange feeling. I only called the old man Hokage when I wasn't pleased, Naruto said, as he shook his head. Later that day, at the Nara compound, as Shikamaru was watching his father play against Naruto and Shogi. You're not playing to win, Shikaku said to Naruto. It can be dangerous if your opponent discover it. They can use it against you when you're not playing to win. They can see right through you. Which means you don't dictate the flow of the battle. You're just merely defending. Sometimes an attack is the best form of defense, Naruto said calmly. On a battlefield, you need to be flexible. This will allow you to adapt to the change and surprises. If you enter anything with just one strategy, you will fall, no matter how soundproof it sounds. As Shikaku stared at the board, in the way Naruto position his players, he can switch the attack in just 3 moves. He gives you a false hope, like he's just going to defend. But when you take the hint and try to win him, he will hit you with a damaging sucker punch. Shikaku looked up at Naruto as he looked back down at the board. How was your meeting with the Hokage? She gave me what I wanted. I think we can forge an understanding, Naruto said calmly. That is at least good to hear, said Shikaku, as they can avoid unwanted conflicts and things can turn out for the better. After a while, the match was over as Naruto was being walked out by Shikamaru. I heard Ino said that the both of you will be going out later on. Yes, Naruto said. It wasn't by choice. Shikamaru only smiled hearing that. Well, Ino is a troublesome woman. She has become worse these days because she takes her life seriously as a kunoichi now. She can even be quite devious at times. I'm used to it, Naruto said. As you say, she's a rather troublesome woman. When I was younger, she used blackmail to get what she wanted from me. As Shikamaru was happy that Naruto at least valued her, despite being rough on her, because she was angry and sad at when Naruto left the village, as she would complain days upon end, and that is when she started to take her training seriously and get Hinata to teach her a few things. Well, perhaps if Ino wanted to tell him that she was angry and he left, he will tell her. It would be rather troublesome to get involved between the two. I have a proposal for you, Naruto said. Shikamaru groaned. I hope it isn't anything too troublesome, he said. Before refusing, you had to know what the blonde wanted him to do. Tsunade value you as a jonin of the Hidden Leaf, not to mention you're the heir of the Nara clan, Naruto said. Konoha will be interacting with the Sand a lot in a couple of months and years. The two villages will be trying to form a strong relationship. I am at the center of it all. It isn't just because of my marriage to Temari. Naturally, there will be someone to be needed to hold diplomatic talks with the San. Normally, Hokage would make that decision, but seeing that the Kazekage is still young and you're at the center of it, you want someone to speak on the same level, and that will keep your interest intact, said Shikamaru. Well, it will keep me away from troublesome battles, said Shikamaru. When will we begin? Tomorrow, the San siblings will be here by noon. You will welcome them, Naruto said as he walked off. Hey, Shikamaru said, that is so sudden. Time skip. At Naruto's house. I wasn't expecting you to be home at this time of the day, Naruto said to Yujiro. It felt strange saying that, home, to Yujiro. Yes, this was our home now, but it wasn't always like this. It had been just him and his mother, but now there was a couple of people warmed up to him and his family. It was difficult, but Naruto was doing alright to accommodate the change, because his mother was happy. I have nothing better to do, Yujiro said, as she took her feet off the coffee table. Well, the man of the house was back, she had to behave. She closed the book she was reading. As Naruto sat down across from her, for a moment she saw tiredness reflecting on his face. Had a busy day, she asked. Not at all, Naruto said. But I've been going around doing a lot of talking. There's a lot to think about. Yujiro nodded as she looked around the house. She was sure that Kushina wasn't home yet, but she will be returning soon. As she said that she was going to do something, but she will be back soon because she has something to discuss with Naruto. I thought Mikato-san would be keeping you busy, Yujiro said, in a rather strange tone. Naruto stared at her for a long minute before asking, what are you talking about? If she had something to say to him, she should go ahead and do so, and stop hiding and beating around the bushes. Well, what you're doing with her, when nobody's looking, Yujiro said. When you were doing it, were people looking? Naruto asked, in a rather calm tone. Yujiro paused to think about that picture Naruto was trying to paint in her head. She would never do something like that, and Naruto knew that, but he was just trying to point out the flaw in her statement. She sighed, trying to reason with that genius. Of course not. I wasn't doing it for a show or one of those smart movies, Yujiro said. But it's not like you're denying anything. I am not admitting anything either, Naruto said as he shrugged his shoulders. You appear to be invested in this idea you have in your mind, Yujiro. If I'm not mistaken, you brought Mikato's intention to me before we left Konoha, and now you still have them in your mind. Answer me, does it bother you? By that question, do you admit it, she asked. Just answer my question, Naruto said. Maybe a little, but it isn't my business. You're not a child. I cannot think for you, and I know that you have making decisions of your own, since you were a little kid. Still, Yujiro said, what are you planning with her? She is as old as your mother is. You can't be thinking of marrying her. I know for sure that she is serious. What do you suggest, Yujiro, Naruto said. Would you rather take her place? My mother wouldn't complain if I was sleeping with you instead. Yujiro tried to say something but no words came out. She was honestly shocked that he would say something like that to that straight face, even though he was Uzumaki Naruto. How could he say something like that? Well, his mother wouldn't complain. The age gap between her and Naruto wasn't that much, and she was already family. Nothing will change. Well, she will be calling Kushina mother. As she smiled at that thought, Naruto tilted his head to the side, seeing her reaction. Does it please you? Yujiro snapped towards Naruto as she realized he was talking about her thoughts, as she flushed slightly. I was thinking about a memory that doesn't include you, she said. I was thinking of rewarding you for seeing something I wasn't able to see, said Naruto. But I cannot decide on a gift. In any case, keep things to yourself. Mikato would probably go all the way Sharingan on you if you talk too much. She looked gentle, but she's a retired Jonin. Yujiro got the feeling that Naruto wasn't saying that just to scare her, but as he looked rather serious. I will keep that in mind, she said. But do use protection, Naruto. It will be a disaster if you end up knocking her up. Huh? Naruto said. Yujiro smiled as she then burst into laughter. She calmed herself. Nothing, never mind. I thought you said you were going to be busy once you returned to the village. But so far you have remained grounded. No missions, no talk about leaving the village. It will be pointless to root out the problems outside when there are many glaring at me inside, Naruto said. Konoha must be secure, where I can say I can leave for a couple of days and not worry about my mother's safety. You know you have me for that, Yujiro said that smile. And if the problem is too much, his house is secured and there isn't anything that you have to worry about when it comes to the villagers. and I can easily summon you. Is that what you think? Naruto said. What do you think would happen if someone to say I was involved in the Uchiha incident and was responsible for Danzo's death? The village already have resentment towards me. With that snap, just a single thought, they will return to their old ways. Yu-Gi-Oh fronted the thought. It was easy to hate something you have hated before. They did not have to learn how to resent Naruto, they already knew how. Well, that would be a disaster, she said. That is why you're going around trying to make friends. Naruto nodded. Just in case I am unable to avoid a complete disaster, it will be good to have people in my corner. Being completely alone would result in me abandoning the leaf, because we would not be able to live here. It will not be so bad, because I have made plans in case something like that occurs. Yu-Gi-Oh smiled. Well, you always have things planned up, she said. I admire that about you, yet it scares me at the same time. Neither Jiraiya or the Hokage understand how far your thinking actually goes. The only person to understand you was the third. It should not scare you, Naruto said. My mother likes you, and I don't have any evil thoughts towards you. Speaking of which, Kushina walked through as she greeted as she went to the kitchen and placed down the bags. As she came back, it is glad that you're here, Yu-Gi-Oh, she said. As she sat down, as she looked at Naruto, Naruto is going on a date with Ino tonight. Yu-Gi-Oh raised an eyebrow at this, as Naruto's expression didn't change, but she smiled though. Isn't this wonderful, she said. You sound overexcited, Naruto said. I am just happy that you're starting to show interest in women, Yu-Gi-Oh said with a smile. There had been a hint of sarcasm in her tone, and she put emphasis on the word woman. But Naruto didn't say anything about it. I don't really need advice, mother. I can do this on my own. I have known Ino all my life. I should be able to handle it. I did handle Temari just fine. Yes, and you have been handling Mikoto just as fine as well, said Yu-Gi-Oh. As Kushina nodded, yes, but you don't see Mikoto and I the same way as you see Ino. Well, if you were normal, you would see her as a beautiful girl. That makes you feel different, Kushina said, refusing to use the right words. If only you knew what he does with Mikoto, Yu-Gi-Oh thought. There's nothing to worry about, mother, said Naruto. I can handle it. True, emotions does confuse me at times. But that is because I restricted myself in the past to not feel other things, just to care for you as my mother. Kushina nodded. I know, she said. Are you really sure you don't need help, she asked. I have been in love. Yu-Gi-Oh as well. If you're embarrassed to talk with me, you can talk with Yu-Gi-Oh or Mikoto. Mikoto is already giving him plenty of lessons, Yu-Gi-Oh said to herself. I have never been embarrassed to talk to you about anything, mother, Naruto said. In case there are things I can't understand, I will come to you. Experience is also the best teacher. Learning through experience will teach me many things. Besides, if I'm guided, I'm never going to have those stupid memories you have with father. Well, you make a reasonable argument, said Kushina, but don't do anything, okay? After the date, take her home and return. Naruto nodded as he didn't say anything because he was going through some thoughts, the things he felt when he was with Mikoto. But if he thought about those emotions, his mother would be very suspicious. He didn't want to sin by lying to his mother. It was best to keep it to himself. Well, there was Yu-Gi-Oh. Naruto then stood up. Yu-Gi-Oh, follow me, he said, without looking back at her. As she got up and followed him. As they went towards the study, she didn't say a word, as she think that he was probably ticked off by her antics. As she stepped in the study, she closed the door behind her. The moment she turned around, she found him standing right in front of her. The intense look in his eyes caused her heart to speed up as she took a step back, as she stopped when she was pressed against the door. As he pulled closer to her and wrapped his arm around her waist, for someone who doesn't look really gentle at times, as he pulled her rather gentle. As he then kissed her. As it shocked her so much, she started to kiss him back. She did not resist or anything. It lasted for a good minute before he walked away, as he went towards his decks. As she remained there shocked, not that Naruto had kissed her, but that she enjoyed it. Why did you do that? She whispered. I wanted to know if kissing you would be different from kissing Mikoto. I wanted to know if it was just a kiss. But it is different, depends on who you kiss. Emotions play a role, but what are these emotions? Second reason, before you say anything sarcastic about me and Mikoto, you remember what we just did. I hate you, Yu-Gi-Oh said. Meh, Naruto said. I'm surprised though that you returned the kiss. I thought you would have probably pushed me away. So, are you satisfied? She asks. In some ways, yes, Naruto said. But this has brought another question to mind. When kissing you, I felt the desire to remove your clothes. What do you call those urges? He asks. Time skip. Naruto stared at Baki with that expressionless look on his face. The man had requested to see him. This has never happened before. They had sent a few letters here and there, as he wanted to know about the progress of Gaara becoming the new Kazekage and how they were handling at Jinchuriki becoming the leader. The Kazekage and his siblings were already in the village, being entertained by Tsunade. What do you want, Baki? As Baki did not show surprise by the question, as he expected Naruto to get to the point. I want to know your motives. As I said before, the Sand will not become anyone. Time matters. And I want to know your motive towards Gaara. He will be independent and rule the Sand as he sees best for his people. If you have any other intentions, I will not sit back and allow it to happen or for the Sand to be used. As there was firmness in the man's tone that left Naruto without a doubt that the man was dead serious upon what he was saying. Then let me ask you this, Naruto said. What will you do if I said, I have great plans for the Sand? Will you fight me? Baki tensed slightly, but his resolve was firm. Anything to protect my Kazekage and the village. I am grateful for what you did, but I cannot allow the village to be controlled by someone who has no love for the village and its people. It will be failure on my part to allow something like that to occur. Feel free to attack me at any time, Naruto said, while I'm watching you. Because if you come at me from behind, I'll be angry. Am I supposed to be afraid? Baki asks. That is for you to decide. But I will say this only once. You should be afraid. Very afraid. As he burst into a murder of crows. As the crows moved off with intense speed and make it right in front of Baki. As they surrounded him. As he found himself staring at the hypnotic eyes of the Sharingan. If I wanted, Naruto's voice echoed through the crows, I could have manipulated you with the Sharingan. But I decided against that because I have no desires to control you or the Sand. My intentions were made clear on the day when I slaughtered the council. But yet you still question my intentions. Naruto's right hand suddenly appeared out of nowhere, grabbing Baki by the throat. It was only his hand that appeared. There was no sign of the rest of his body. I could also break your neck now, because you're the one that killed Hayate. But I won't because the Sand doesn't have many capable Jonins like you. In any case, don't think I won't kill you. You can easily be replaced. As Naruto released his hand as the crows fly past, as they gather behind Baki, and Naruto came out of it. Remember, I let you live even though you had a part in the invasion. Any more of this nonsense, and I'll end you. Do not mistake my words, Naruto said. Time skip. At Naruto's house. Gaara stared at Naruto with an emotionless look on his face, as his siblings were at his two sides, as they waited for Naruto to start talking. They already talked to Hokage. This was a person they have to talk to before leaving the village. He could not stay here for too long, but of course he will have to speak to Kushina before he leaves. The woman had given him something that he could not put value on. As Naruto didn't look like he was going to say anything at all, so Gaara decided to speak. I was hoping I would see your mother as well. It would be unfortunate if I was to leave without speaking to her. Naruto blinked once. Why do you need to see my mother? Your business is with me. He knew exactly why they want to see his mother. They have grown attached to her in the hidden sand when they were there. His mother liked to mother other people, but there was nothing he can do about it, because his mother was much happier that way. Official business, Gaara said. I never knew my mother. She died giving birth to me. At first I was treated like nothing much than a failure. My own father didn't want me. You could say I lacked that parental love. But your mother gave me an experience to let me know what it feels to have a mother. It was because of her I even started to be something in my father's eyes. I will always be very grateful for what she did to me. I am sure Temari feels the same, but he would not say anything about Kankuro. Things were different concerning him. Naruto tilted his head to the side as he rested on his left palm. You will see her after talking to me. I have much to say to you as a Kazekage. Little to nothing to say to your siblings. Temari smiled bitterly when she heard those words. I never expected things to be the same, but aren't you being a bit too cold? We share many memories together, and you were the person that gave me words to live without any worries. What happened to that person I grew to admire, she asks. Naruto's eyes focused on her for a second, as he then spoke. I remember telling you to tell those people who are forcing you into this occasion to stop. Because I said so. I also said that you should not fight this situation. But let us try to live with it. Because fighting it won't change anything. Growing up into it will help us get around it. Both of us were stuck in a situation neither of us wanted. Still are, Temari said. Yes, Naruto said. But what of it, Temari? It was a logical thing to say at that time. Surely, not out of kindness. In any case, I do not despise you. And I don't have anything against you. Maybe I was being a little rude, he said. But he was not going to apologize for it. My mother should be in the living room. She will be quite ecstatic to see you. It was nice seeing you again, Naruto, Temari said as she stood up. Kankuro, you can go with her, Gaara said, seeing that Naruto failed to address his brother. Things would have gone worse, but for now it was okay. There was still time to repair the bridges. His brother did not fight, he left peacefully. As Naruto sighed as the two of them left the study, he had thought about his marriage to Temari, but he could not think about it, seeing that so much things were going on right now. He just really didn't feel anything for it. His mother would not allow him to bring that girl here. If she was going to be miserable, she would slap him on both cheeks if she knew that. How are things in the sand, Naruto asked. So far so good. There are challenges. As some, people are trying to resist my rule, but I should be able to handle it. The village still has some financial troubles, but I think my negotiation with the Winged Daimyo will resolve those matters soon. Aside from that, there hasn't been any troubles. That is good to know, Naruto said. If there's anything you need, come to me. I will help you in any way I can. Whether it be some negotiation with the Fire Lord in terms of trade, I will offer my assistance. The Sand should have lost some of his allies with the proceed betrayal of Konoha. Gaara raised an eyebrow at those words, but he smiled in the end. I will keep that in mind, he said. The Hokage has been a willing ally. Things will not turn any worse in the near future. I'm taking measures to make sure nothing like that happens again. You have one problem, Naruto said. I am sure. Tsunade has told you about the Akatsuki since you are Jinchuriki. She told me to keep an eye out for them, but she wasn't forthcoming in the details. They are after Bijus. I don't know when they will make a move, but they are capable shinobi. My life is also threatened. So, I will also have to act. Once I have something concrete planned out, I will let you know. Now, just in case you were wondering, I have no reason to control the sand. I was merely creating a possible route for me in case Konoha fails. I figured that much, Gaara said. Naruto, I know you're cautious with us since the betrayal. I understand that, but I want to assure you we won't go through that path. If anything, we like to maintain the friendship that we share before anything. If I had hated your guts, I would have never thought of making the Sana escape route. Orochimaru killed your father because he refused to go along with the plans. For your own survival, your father could have gone along with the plans, but he refused. And I hold him in high regard for that, for sticking to what he believed in. Baki was just stupid and ignorant. Hence, the council wanted, so I killed them. You're in this house because I have nothing against you, Gaara. I do not know about friends because I have never gone out of my way to make them. Gaara managed a small smile. You may not consider me as a friend for now, but one day I will become your friend. Why, Naruto asked. You know, at this point I would think twice before killing you. Because your relationship with my mother, granted, it remains the same. So you basically have a small hold on me. As I said, your mother gave me an experience that wasn't mean to have a family. Since then, I have considered her as a family. I still do now, Gaara said. I simply cannot betray her kindness and the experience that she gave me. Time skip at the training ground. Chidori, Sasuke said as he dashed towards Naruto. As Sasuke was coming down out of mid-air, as Naruto simply leaped back, as Sasuke's jutsu crashed into the ground with a huge boom. As Sasuke tried to pull his hand from the ground, Naruto appeared in front of him, his foot raised high in the sky. As Sasuke brought up his hand to block, but the force of the kick connected with his hand, and that blew Sasuke away. The moment Sasuke stopped skidding, Naruto appeared in front of him again, and brought down a drop kick, as Sasuke blocked it with his arms in an X motion. But the ground underneath him shattered. Sasuke quickly used his strength as he pushed back Naruto. As Sasuke jumped up and brought his right foot up, ready to slam into the side of Naruto's head. As Naruto tilted his face back and grabbed the leg, as Sasuke brought down another fist, as Naruto grabbed it with his other arm. Sasuke smirked as he released electricity, as Naruto quickly released him, as Sasuke was now in point-blank rage, as Sasuke was preparing a fire style, but Naruto's reaction was lightning fast as he grabbed a hold of Sasuke's face, as he twisted around forcing Sasuke to move with him, before mercilessly driving him down into the ground a boom. As a second passed as electricity burst from Sasuke's body, making Naruto jump back, as Sasuke picked up himself and dashed off at blinding speeds, as Naruto also dashed off with a Rasengan, as Sasuke tried to punch him in the stomach but Naruto twisted his body, as he slammed the Rasengan straight into Sasuke's back, but Sasuke replaced himself with a log, as Naruto teared right through the log. As Sasuke appeared behind Naruto and drive his lightning covered hand forward, but Naruto also turned into a log. As Naruto appeared a distance away, as Sasuke appeared in front of him with his sword in his hand that was covered in lightning. As Naruto jumped back quickly to avoid the swing passed right in front of him, but a bit of electricity touched his chest. As Naruto leaped away, damn it, just one single touch after I paralyze you. As Naruto summoned his own sword, as he covered it in wind, as he simply blinked away, as Sasuke did the same. As Naruto appeared above Sasuke, as Sasuke looked at the sword, as his Sharingan activated, as he quickly moved out of the way, he couldn't block that. Even though Naruto's sword did not touch the ground, a gaping gash teared right through it. Sasuke didn't appear as he brought up his feet, as he tried to hit it in Naruto's head, but Naruto grabbed it with his left hand, a firm grip, as Sasuke could not escape. As Sasuke brought up his other leg, but Naruto simply pushed him off, as Sasuke was off balance. As it was just for a second, but Sasuke knew how fast Naruto was, as a brutal fist crashed into his chest. As Sasuke felt all the breath escaping for a second there, as he was sent flying backwards. But he regained his breath as he flipped several times in the air and landed on one knee. You still punched so brute, but Sasuke couldn't get to finish that sentence, as Naruto was coming in with a large Rasengan in his hand. Sasuke's mature Sharingan morphed into the Mangekyou Sharingan, as a dark purple Susanoo appeared on his body. Naruto jutsu hit hard, but it failed to break through, causing Naruto to jump away. "I'm not going to go easy on you," Sasuke said, as his Susanoo morphed in size, as it was now the upper half body. As a bow and arrow was formed, as Sasuke didn't stop there, as the arrow became enveloped by black flames. With his left eye bleeding slightly, Sasuke fired the first shot. Naruto pulled out a three-pronged kunai as he threw it, as he flashed away as the arrow stabbed into the ground where he was, as Sasuke quickly turned where the three-pronged kunai had thrown, as he fired another arrow. As Naruto blinked away again, as there was a couple of explosions that shook the entire training ground, as Sasuke kept on firing arrows. After a couple of seconds, Sasuke fell on his knees, as the Susanoo dispersed, his body hurting. Using the Susanoo felt like his body was being torn apart. It was damn painful. He needed to get used to using this jutsu. Amaterasu was another bloody jutsu that just hurt his eyes. Great power came with great pain, huh? Well, the more he used it, the more he would get used to the pain. Sasuke stood up as his Sharingan was still active, as Naruto was a distance away as he too looked winded. While using the Harajuku to dodge his arrows had to take a lot from him, as those arrows were incredibly fast. "I will give you this round," Sasuke said calmly, as he deactivated his Sharingan. "That is for the best," Naruto said. "That was a little unfair though, using your jutsu like that. One of those things would have killed me." Sasuke shrugged. "Pushing yourself to the limit is a good way to test yourself and myself as well. And there is still a lot more I need to learn about the Mangekyou and to improve on." But Naruto said nothing. As Sasuke looked amused, "Does it bother you that you have hit a wall with your growth, and I still have much more potential to go? Does it bother you that if I am at my full potential, and without that power, you cannot match me?" "Don't be ridiculous," Naruto said. "The potential is there for you. But if you cannot finish me off before your chakra runs out, you cannot defeat me." As Sasuke realized his mother was right, there was no reason to be afraid. Naruto was ridiculously strong, but he was also strong and he had the Sharingan with him. It wasn't anyone's power, but his power, his bloodline. Naruto would need the Kyuubi's power to defeat him when he does obtain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and the perfect Susanoo. Still, his chakra reserves are something he need to resolve. He could not hold a candle to Naruto at this level. I will develop a seal for you, Naruto said. It will be used to store chakra. It will be like a second pool of chakra. You can access it to replenish your reserves once you run out of chakra. It will be different from a soldier pill because it will not carry any health risk. This will solve the problem, but I will need to work on my stamina, Sasuke said. How are we going to explain this? I am sure the explosions reached the villagers. We have our guests watching, but not the Hokage. Naruto shrugged if she found the thing she was watching. I must go, Naruto said, as he vanished without another word. Sasuke frowned. Naruto was leaving him to deal with the people that was watching them. Surely someone will come to him to ask them questions about their power. The Anvus would not, but they would surely take note. But Sasuke was not troubled when he was only his former sensei appeared, Kakashi sensei. As Kakashi had only come twice in their time away, and he did not really see much of their training. You have grown a lot, Sasuke, said Kakashi. The younger you would have still continued the fight, regardless upon how your body felt. And you appear to have great control over your Sharingan. That is something to smile about. I had a good teacher, Sasuke said. There is still so much more I have to learn about it though. So much more, Sasuke said. Meanwhile, at the Hokage's office, Tsunade leaned back to rest in her chair, but her eyes were on the crystal ball in front of her, as Jiraiya was there as well, as they have watched Naruto and Sasuke's sparring session, and it was truly impressive, as she had no doubt about their strength. But in any case, Sasuke will still have to do some missions before he could get his vest. Because Naruto was already on Anvus and he did some greater missions before, she has to go by the rules anyway. But she could tell that he was at Jonin level at least. They both are impressive, said Tsunade. That time we just saw their speed, but here we know the both of them can fight well. Well, seeing how much Sasuke has grown at a young age, now I know why the Sharingan was fear in those days. As she was happy that Konoha had another strong person in her ranks, and that he would not go traitors on them. There was no reason to put Sasuke as a flight risk. But there was Naruto. If nothing happened, he would stay in the village with his mother. But he could easily be ticked off, and what could tick him off though? How would they prevent something like that from happening? Shikaku had a plan, and really if anything, they hoped that would work for the best. I'm still impressed that Naruto could fight against that without using the Kyuubi's chakra, said Jiraiya as he was impressed, as Sasuke has pulled out even that Susanoo, and Naruto still fight against it without using the Fox chakra. As Jiraiya had to admit, even though he was a Sanin, he would have difficulty to face off against that Susanoo, as the arrows were incredibly fast. And the fact that Naruto did not attack the Susanoo head on meant that he knew that it would be a failure. He couldn't break through it. At Ichiraku Ramen, Naruto was eating a bowl of ramen as Hinata appeared and sat down as she ordered a bowl, as Naruto continued to eat like he didn't even see her. How are things in the village? I know you are not the most favorite person before the invasion, Hinata said. Naruto's eyes turned at Hinata for a moment before he looked at his empty bowl. He had told her to stay away from him because he didn't want to play games with her father. If the man learned that she met him so publicly, he would not be happy and he would come at him with blazing guns. As Naruto did not fear the man, he was just not in the right state to deal with this. He had a lot of more things, important things at the moment to deal with about. And also, when it comes to his personal life, he was going through a lot of emotions that he didn't really understand. They were a lot harder to understand. Well, maybe Hinata has her reasons. She wasn't stupid, was she? It was a bit amusing that she was going against her father's wishes though. The old Hinata would have never defied her father. So far, no problems there to answer her question. There was a couple of raised eyebrows when I was walking around the uncle, but nothing out of control. Hinata smiled. I'm happy to know that, she said. I have settled things in my family. My sister is okay, and I'm trying to lessen things between the main and the branch family. So far, I'm content with how things are going. But there are still some challenges, but things are looking good for now. That is interesting to know, Naruto said. It is good that you still have this gentle side of you. I never resented it, or did I try to change it, but I just wanted you to show a spine. Perhaps you gave me hope that not all was lost for humans. When other people does nothing but abuse you, you learn how to hate them, said Hinata. To despise their very being. Well, that is what most people do. But that isn't the case for you, Naruto said. You may have been treated unfairly, but you don't hate anyone. Same can be said for you, said Hinata. I believe that if you actually hate the people in the village, we would not be sitting here talking to each other like this. You merely saw them as nothing but insects to not waste your time on. Well, we're all different, so we respond to the situation different ways. Those who hurt, I responded to kindness with. But for you, you responded with nothing. You just look at them with that indifference look on your face. Interesting, Naruto said. You have become much knowledgeable with life. I want to change my clan. How can I not change it if I don't understand the dynamics? Before you try to change something or someone, you must first change yourself. Unless you're God, Hinata said. Since I was never able to muster the courage to speak in my younger days, all I did was observe and observe. And I saw a lot of people. And I was able to see things that other people were not able to see. Well, I should not stay too long. My father will surely send people here if I do so. Well then, she then bowed her head in respect as she left him alone. About an hour later at Naruto's studies, Yujiro came in as she stared at Naruto with the expressionless mask in her face. As Naruto did not say anything, he didn't seem like he even acknowledged her presence. So she spoke. That was nice of you to give people an idea of what the both of you are capable of doing. Every movement is essential when you have enemies. Careless movements will only ruin you. I won't discuss that with you in any case, Naruto said. I should be absent from Konoha tomorrow noon. At least. You're finally moving, she asked. I need to find information about the Akatsuki and his leader. Itachi didn't know much about him. All he knew was that he believed in the rain and possessed the Rinnegan. There's nothing else we know much on that, Naruto said as he leaned back in his chair. There was the option of going to the rain to find out for himself, but that was just risky and he did not know what to expect. What he knew was that he sent two people there in different occasions and neither of them had returned. For now, he will try to find out what was inside before making a move himself. I am not deeply concerned about the masked one because I have him covered. What if your plans fail, Yujiro said. What is this plan you have for him anyway? You don't have to worry yourself about the small details. My mother comes first to you. Everything else, you leave for me to worry about it. In any case, I don't believe my plan would fail. As long as I keep it to myself. Yujiro sighed. If you were someone else, I would be worried about you doing something reckless. I don't take unnecessary risks. After all, I understand how fragile life is. Humans are much easier to kill and they can die in many ways. Naruto then looked at her curiously. Why are you standing so far away? Ever since she entered, she has been standing far away from him. And you also seem to be on guard. I don't want you to catch me off guard again, she said, as Naruto tilted his head. After a couple of seconds he understood, as she just stared at him. Is it really something you have to guard against? Unlike me, you must have done it a couple of times, Naruto said. You are trained to use your body if necessary. Such a thing should be meaningless. If it is meaningless to me, then shouldn't it be meaningless to you as well, Yujiro asked. This is something new for me, Naruto said. I'm inexperienced in the field, so it is difficult to control everything at once. If you're not as experienced, don't try to do them on me, she said. I am not your test subject. I am sure even your mother would be disappointed if she learned that her son is experiencing on his own emotions using real people. What are you afraid of, Naruto said. I'm inexperienced, not stupid. I am not afraid, she said. In any case, what do you think would have happened if you were not able to stop? I didn't think that I would allow myself to be controlled by emotions. Well, wouldn't you stop me? He asked. You're a former envoy, Yujiro. To say I could overpower you that easily to force myself on you would be rather strange. Or perhaps you wouldn't fail to stop me because you allowed it yourself. But guys, it'll be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part, if you already know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn that bell notification stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.